Dark King.
Hello everyone and welcome to another SkaredCast live stream video with me, Skari, your grateful host. Today we're looking at the Warzone Nachmund supplement, Vigilus Alone from Warhammer 40,000. Thank you very much to Games Workshop for sending me a free copy to review. Legalities aside, hello, I'm Skari. Thanks for tuning in. This is my head in a green void. And we're going to be talking about it. There's Adeptus Sororitas rules in this thing. There are Phobos Army of Renown in here. So welcome. I am just off the bat of a 4 hours and 40-minute live stream that I did for the Tau Codex with Devin, one of the best Tau players / players of 40k in just Canada and Ontario. I would have had Siegler on, of course, as well, but he was at LVO, so couldn't do that. Now could I? But hello, everybody in chat. If you're brand new to this kind of show, I will be going through this supplement essentially page by page, breaking it down, reading the rules, and one of the cool things I get to do is interact with you, the chat. So if you'd like to interact, you can ask a question, chat, leave a comment. Of course, huge shout out to all the channel Patreons. Thanks for liking, subscribing. Super chats, really appreciated because it helps the channel like a lot. So thanks a lot. So Truck Station says good morning. Hello. Luke McCarthy says good morning, Skari. Is this the supplement with the Custodes Army of Renown? No, this is Sisters of Battle, and Sisters of Battle, and Phobos Army of Renown, not Custodes. Delicious. Okay, Vigilus Alone. Let's take a look at it, shall we? Now, one of the cool things about this, I'm a big campaign player, and I like narrative games. And in the book, they sent this really cool map. It's like a map, and it's got like you can actually make the planets either be like Chaos controlled, Imperial controlled. I'm actually going to be changing these little stickers. They're really cool. I'm going to be changing these little stickers. I think instead of Chaos, I'm going to try and change them to look like Necrons and maybe print out some that look like Necron stuff. Do like a little campaign thing with John the Cron, which I think will be really interesting. But it's a big poster. Like it's quite massive. So I'm going to try and frame it, I think. I'm going to be putting it out there as well. Fraser says, dang, you still at it? Clown says, Skari going hard today. That's right, there's 2 books to review. Tau Codex, this book, you know, and so yeah, that's what I've been... What do you think I do? This is my job. This is a Saturday morning pre-release day. I'm showing you all the goodies. So you can follow along and understand where to invest your hard-earned dollars. One of which could be the channel Patreon, which the link is in the description. Man, I'm selling hard today. Oh yeah. Sell, sell, sell. Hello, Olaf. What's going on? So we've got the... Oh, man, some of these new pictures they've been taking. They look so cool. I like the little special effects they did for that little warp gate thing. I actually used one of those things in the live stream at Mini Wargaming on Wednesday. I built a Chaos list. A Wordbearer's Chaos list. And I had a ton of fun playing with it. To the point where I really want to start my own Chaos Army. I love the little posters they give. Yeah. They never really had a poster with the other Vigilus, as far as I remember. Did they? Did they give another poster? I don't even remember. So there's a Nachmund subsector, so you can see like the Cicatrix Maledictum, and then you've got the Imperium Nihilus and the regular Imperium, and then this is, of course, the route that you can take. You've got Vigilus, which is in the Nihilus, and this is, there's a huge conflict zone around it or whatever. And it's the Nachmund Gauntlet, which is literally, you run the gauntlet to get to the, it's so really close to the Eye of Terror. Anyway, all in all, the galaxy is in a world of poop. Because that's kind of how the whole universe has gone. No, I guess I like the Indomitus one. Oh, did they give you a map like the Indomitus? I don't even remember. You know, sometimes they give you cool stuff, sometimes they don't. So this is the Vigilus system itself, which is like a zoomed-in version of that. You get to see like where everything is. Yeah, it's neat. I like it. You know, I sometimes read a lot of the lore You know, sometimes I feel like I'd have a lot of fun just sitting down and reading lore and stuff, like for everybody to listen to. Hearthlack, the Halo World. Inquisitor Gardavolus. Yeah, I could make voices. Escaping the Rift, all that good stuff. Yeah, neat. There's some Wardens of the Gauntlet. Ah, the Black Templars are here. Excellent. Warriors in the Martial Corvain were once the Gorlas Crusade, sent to purge the Gorlas cluster before the Great Rift. Swallowed their fleet whole. Spat them out. Now the Marshal leads his fervent warriors in puritanical rampages through the Gauntlet's central region. I like it. I like the Black Templars are involved. I think the Rift Stalkers. Yeah, there you go. Rift Stalkers are in there too. Nice. Tyler's going to love that. Oh, look, the Howling Griffins, Space Wolves. Oh, boy. They're like everywhere. It's pretty neat. Olaf, well, if you want to start Chaos, there's a certain thing for mini wargaming. Yes, there is, actually. I've been painting up my... This is just a little sideshow, but I've been painting up my Valkyr that Dave sent me. I've been using contrast paints, literally just contrast. And it's coming out so nicely. It's so easy. It's literally taken me like half an hour, not even, 20 minutes to get that model to that, and letting it dry, and then I'm going to be doing it again today. And then it's going to take a picture. It's going to look really cool. But word bearers are my jam. They are my jam. Being able to summon stuff and stuff. I love how there's so many different maps from like the different perspectives. It's really neat. It's all about holy wars and stuff like that, purging chaos. And you've got some campaign rules. Good morning, Alexander. What's going on? If something needs purging, the Templars will be there. 100%. So if you're a fan of like campaign stuff, they've got some campaign rules in here. You got like phases. You've got like extra keywords you get. You've got like the different Warzone abilities, and then some of the missions, which are really cool. I enjoy some of these legendary missions. They're just fun to play. Like if you just want to have fun with a friend or run a campaign with you and your buddies or whatever. It's a great way to sort of play the game. The campaign master gets some cool stuff to do. We've got some Crusade relics. There are actually some Crusade rules in this for Crusade rules, yeah, for like the set itself, right? Which is pretty cool. For banners, like mainly making Space Marine banners cooler. We could call this book the Making the Space Marine Banners Cooler book. Okay, so these are the rules. So you've got a lot of lore, a lot of stories about the Vigilus sector. If you like that stuff, this book is going to be for you. And of course, as most Vigilus stuff, like this is the rules. Okay, out of the entire book, it's like a couple of pages, nothing crazy, and then from there it goes into the Crusade stuff. So a lot of the times, just put contrast on it, says Alexander. Yeah, contrast paints are great. Cool. So they have the datasheet for the Gravis Captain that went up for pre-order today. He basically has a lot of different options. He gets additional attacks with his chainsword or with his power sword, making him a little bit more like appealing to take as a unit option, basically, instead of just like the same old Gravis Captain that you've seen over and over. Now they have options. You can take different weapons. It's a little bit more customizable. And then the Primaris Ancient with the banner. I am going to be shaving off that Ultramarine sign on mine and putting on a Black Templar cross, I think. It's going to be, yeah, you're going to do that, make it look cool. But the banner itself is like the same rules as any banner. It's literally the same. That doesn't change. Oh, they look so cool. Look at that, Black Templars in the back. Oh, yeah, we got some Cadians. Cool conversion that they did with this thing. I wonder if sometimes they hide new models inside of these like big dioramas and they don't even show you. Like those seem about the same. That seems the same. You know, this Inquisitor guy is new, I think. It's like a cool Inquisitor. Or he might... No, he was stabbing a book. They did show him off recently. Oh, all the Black Templars just... Emperor's Champion. It's like no Yeah, there's the Dark Apostle. Ah, so cool. They look so neat. So let's dive into some rules, shall we? Because that's what you're here for. Rules. So we have the Vanguard Spearhead. So it's drawn for the Scout Company. So this is an army of Renown, which means there are going to be some restrictions in it. What is the Duo Power Fist bonus for the Captain? You just get an additional attack with a Power Fist. That's it. That's it. I don't think you can have more than one Power Fist. It's just you get +1 attack for your Power Fist. So Vanguard Spearhead. A Vanguard Spearhead is an army of Renown. Restrictions. Your army can only include Phobos, Suppressor Squads, Invictor, Tactical War Suits, and Impulsor units. And your army cannot include any Deathwatch units. Benefits. All of your units gain the Vanguard Spearhead keyword. And you have access to the Vanguard Spearhead Chapter Relics, Stratagems, and Tools of the Vanguard. If Vanguard Spearhead units in your army gain the Vanguard Operations ability, which is this here. If your army is battle-forged, incursion squads, infiltrator squads, and reaver squads, incursors, infiltrators, and reavers gain objectives secured. Which makes sense. Of course, you're probably going to be wanting like an actual spearhead, but you could run a battalion, and then like infiltrators and incursors already have objectives secured. So, sure. Vanguard Operations. Number 1, this unit never gains a chapter tactic, so you can't like mix and match with like, Space Marine Black Templars or anything like that. Like they're their own chapter tactic basically. Each time a ranged attack is made against a unit with this ability, if the attacker is more than 18 inches away, they have light cover. So they get light cover over 18 inches away. Cool, better saves. Each time an infantry unit with this ability is selected to make a normal move, if every model in that unit ends that move at least 4 inches away from where it started, so if they're running around like crazy, they get +1 to hit. So if they basically want to stay mobile always, they get +1 to hit if they move. They end their move more than 4 inches away from where they started. Sure, sounds about right. Anytime a unit in this ability consolidates, they can consolidate 6 inches instead of 3. So in close combat, they have a little bit more tactical options. So pile in 3 and then consolidate 6, which I think is 9 inches of extra movement after a charge roll. Could be really good. Charge in, kill something, wipe it out, move an additional 6 inches. Don't underestimate additional movement. It's always a powerful mechanic. However, losing the chapter tactic sucks. Like, why? Why lose the chapter tactic? Why? I don't get it. They keep their combat doctrines, like all that stuff, like bolted drill and things like that. But like, why the chat? Why? I want my Black Templars to be Black Templars and get their crazy vows and stuff. Anyway, then we have relics. So there are 4 relics. So the Knight Blade is a combat knife or paired combat blade only. It is a strength user -3 to damage, and when you attack a non-vehicle unit, you wound on 2s. Unmodified 2s, which is important, because if they have like minuses to wound or something, doesn't matter. It's modified 2s. Then we have the Armor Umbral, which is a armor, basically. It gives the unit transhuman physiology, so any wound of 1 to 3 fails, and the bearer can advance and charge. So it makes your little captain or Phobos guy a little faster to get into combat, which I think is really cool. I think a Phobos librarian is pretty neat. Then we have Shadow's Touch, a 4-sword only, so a model with a 4-sword, aka a Phobos librarian. Fair enough. It is a +3 strength -4 to damage. Cool. In your psychic phase, if the bearer manifests any psychic powers from the Obscuration Discipline, so that's in the Space Marine Codex, and then until the start of your next psychic phase, each time an attack is made with this weapon, invulnerable saving throws cannot be made against that attack. So you cast a psychic power, your little librarian goes in, he can ignore invulnerable saves. You have to cast a psychic power, you have to get your librarian into combat in the first place. You have to spend a relic slot. But ignore invuls, he's not bad. That's strength 4, 5, 6, 7. there's some good powers in that discipline. So it's not like it's useless. It's just interesting, you know what I mean? Then we have the Morbidius bolts. Spearhead model only. Basically, select one of the bolt weapons and they have bolts. You can choose to shoot the bolts instead of a normal weapon. You only make one attack with the weapon. If you hit, the target suffers 2 mortal wounds instead of any normal damage, and that unit is -1 from any combat attrition tests. Sure, would be good against a horde. I like the mortal wounds. Anytime you just like hit and do mortal wounds, it's quite powerful. It also means if you have like the ability to like ignore Lookout Sir or something, you can like target characters with like mortal wounds, which tends to be a little bit more dangerous than normal in a lot of cases. So we have tools of the Vanguard. So we've got the Infiltrator and Incursor squads. They have access to additional upgrades. So if an Infiltrator squad does not have a Helix Gauntlet, Comms, or Voxbreaker, they can have a Saboteur pack, which gives them a keyword. And if an Infiltrator is not equipped with either of those they can have a Voxbreaker Auspex, which gives them access to some of the stratagems here. And then an Incursor squad, if they don't have the Haywire Mine, they can have a Target Tracker, and it gives them the keyword Target Tracker, which then affects one of the stratagems that we were showing off right now. So, stratagems. 1 CP, Storm of Death. Use the stratagem in the fight phase when a Vanguard Reaver squad from your army is selected to fight. Till the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack against an infantry or biker unit, unmodified wound rolls of 6, inflict 1 mortal wound in addition to any normal damage to a max of 6 mortal wounds. So, maximum is 6 mortal wounds, doing wounds on wounds, that's like a Wrath of Mars, basically. It's what we call Wrath of Mars, because it's very similar to that stratagem from the Adeptus Mechanicus book. In close combat, for Reavers only. Now, Reavers do have lots of attacks, so you're likely going to do a decent amount of mortal wounds. Just gives them a little bit extra spice against infantry or bikers to kind of take down some of them. And they're OBSEC in this army, so cool. Ocular Networking. 1 command point. Use a stratagem in your shooting phase or fight phase when a Vanguard Spearhead unit from your army is selected to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in the unit makes an attack that targets a monster or vehicle unit, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 gains additional 2 AP, cumulative with the bonus gained from combat doctrines. So your combat doctrines give you +1 to your AP. Against vehicles or monsters, 6 to wound will increase it by an extra 2. So when I'm looking at this, I like a lot of the bolters, like don't have a lot of AP, so that really helps against targets like in cover or whatever, or that have high armor, or monsters or vehicles that have like good armor saves. But it also works in like the Invictor Tactical War Suits that have the Flamers. And, they auto-hit, and then you can roll the wound, and any 6s is the AP plus extra AP. So it kind of gives them a little bit more versatility. It's 1 CP, so it's not crazy good, but it's decent. Like, it'll just increase the damage output. Fraser asks, they're trying to make Reavers usable? ? Yeah, I believe so. I like the Reaver Lieutenant because of the stratagem that spooks people out of OBSEC, like takes objective secured away. And that's one of the main uses I've seen Reavers used for. However, this is like an army of old Phobos. So, I think it's more of a thematic. I don't think this is as strong as the Deathwatch Army of Renown. I think the Deathwatch one is a lot stronger. But this has a couple of cool little tricks in it. Then we have Dispersal Protocols, 2 CP. Use a stratagem at the end of the fight phase. Select a Vanguard Spearhead unit from your army that's within engagement range of any enemy units, and that unit can fall back as if it was your movement phase. Out of all the stratagems, this is one of the most powerful strats. However, you need to survive combat, which is, you're a Space Marine. It just means that, like, small, annoying combats, like people piling into you, or just kind of, like, getting a few models in to stop you from, like, shooting or whatever, you can, like, fall back in your opponent's turn, or at the end of the fight phase, and just like fall back away. Or if you didn't kill the target you needed to kill and you survived, you like fall back away so that, anyway. So there's like things you can do. It also gives you extra movement, so you could charge into a tank, right? Pile in, consolidate, and then make a full fallback move, and then use that distance to get onto an objective. You know, like there's a Rhino right here, and you're like right up here, and you move, charge, pile in around, boop, then consolidate around, and then 2CP full back, and you're literally like, boop, at an objective it was like 30 inches away that you have no business being on. So, that's pretty cool. You can also use it for the tactical war suits. If they survive, they can like fall back and they go charge something else or whatever. So that kind of stratagem I find very useful. Is it worth an entire army just for the strat? No. But, you know, it's a cool little strat. Saboteur Explosive Pack. This is for the Explosive Pack keyword, which would be on the Infiltrator squads without, if you took that upgrade. You can select a vehicle or monster when you fall back in engagement range. And they do D3 mortal wounds or D6 mortal wounds. So, situational at best. Voxbreaker Auspex, 1 CP. Also an Infiltrator squad. Select an enemy unit with an 18. And until the start of your next turn, that unit is -1 to hit. And if that unit declares a charge, you can select a unit from your army as a target of that charge to get +1 to hit in Overwatch, or get +1 to hit in close combat against them. I like the -1 to hit. It's good. It's 18. That's actually pretty useful for 1 CP. Pick a unit with an 18. -1 to hit. It's like an extra psychic power, but it's like automatic, just worth the CP. Then we have the Marksman Target Tracker, which is on the Incursor squad. This is 2 CP. Pick it when the unit with the keyword is selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, each time you select a target for an Oculus Bolt Carbine, you can ignore Lookout Sir, so it allows the Incursors to snipe characters. However, Bodyguard Rule still exists. It is a silly rule, in my opinion, because it makes snipers pointless. So, yeah, and it's easily abusable. Then we have the Tactical Augury. 1 CP, use this strat in the shooting phase when a Vanguard Spearhead unit from your army is selected to shoot till the end of the phase. Each time a model in that unit makes a ranged attack, the target does not receive the benefits of cover. So for 1 CP, you can have a unit ignore dense cover, ignore light cover. So, you know, they hit better, and, you know, there's less armor saves, which is cool, which then you could, like, combine against, like, a monster or vehicle with the ocular networking, get extra AP, and there's cool things like that. And it's with any of the units as well, which is neat. And the last stratagem they get is called Pivotal Moment. It's a 2 CP strat that's specifically designed to kill the enemy warlord. It is for a core unit only. Until the end of the phase, when you shoot, right? If you shoot against the enemy warlord, a successful wound roll inflicts a number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic of the weapon used for that attack, and the attack sequence ends. So, if you got lots of bolters and you're shooting at the Warlord Knight that your opponent has as their warlord, you just hit and do mortals. Or whatever, one big nasty unit, like, I don't know, Mortarion or something, or Morven Vol. Just be like, I shoot you, and I just do mortals. So that's actually kind of cool. That's neat, but it's designed specifically to kill the warlord. So very thematic Vanguard, like, Spearhead, Army of Renown. Is it the most powerful? I don't think so. I think it's very restrictive. But for, like, smaller games, you know, 1,500, 1,000 points, you know, I think it's actually kind of neat. John Chavez has a comment, says, the Bodyguard Rule should be that unit gives lookouts regardless of the number of models in the unit. Yeah, or it should be, you know, they jump in front and you pass off wounds or something. But you should be able to do damage to them if they're behind that line of sight. Or it should be like they can only bodyguard a unit that they're in range and line of sight of, right? Instead of just like within range. So you can't just like hide your bodyguards behind a wall and then they just completely like protect whatever you're doing there. Okay, here we go. Codex Supplement. Order of the Bloody Rose. This is one of the ones I was most excited about. I have a little Sisters of Battle army myself, and I went to a little 3-round 500-point tournament a couple of weeks ago, before second series of lockdowns. And I took a Bloody Rose army. It was a little patrol, a Repentia, some Dominions, a Canonus with like a Killy Blade and some Seraphim, and a Rhino, and it was awesome. I had a lot of fun playing that list. So let's see what Order of the Bloody Rose get. So, these rules are only for a detachment that has only Order of the Bloody Rose keyword, excluding Cult Imperialis, Agents of the Imperium, or Underlined. So, pretty standard stuff for supplement. The entire detachment has to be Bloody Rose. Now, in match play, that doesn't really matter as much because the entire army has to be Bloody Rose if you're taking Bloody Rose. Is it good enough to just focus on one of them? We shall see. Warlord Traits. There are 3 additional Warlord Traits you can pick from. Fiery Example. Each time this Warlord makes a melee attack against a character, you get +1 to wound. Cool. And each time this Warlord destroys an enemy character, you gain 2 miracle dice. Sure. Probably not the most efficient, but thematic. Incandescent Reprisal. Each time this Warlord would lose a wound, roll a d6. On a 5+, that wound is not lost. So 5-up Feel No Pain for Warlord, that's always really good. I like those rules like that. Keeps them alive a lot longer. Once per phase, after an enemy shoots or fights, if this Warlord suffered any wounds as a result of those attacks, if you're not in engagement range, it can shoot, but it can only target the enemy unit that gave a wound to her. If it's within engagement range of enemy units that have and has not already been selected to fight, then it can immediately fight again. Cool. So you can essentially interrupt for free if the Warlord has taken damage in the middle of combat or shoot, as long as you fight the thing that fought you. Well, so a lot of the times when you're taking damage and you don't die, you want to hit this thing that hasn't attacked you yet. So, okay, fair enough, but it's kind of cool that you could, like, say you want to kill some of the squad and there's a character still going to punch you, you can hit the squad. But the 5-up Feel No Pain is actually quite good. Red-Handed Castigator. Each time you gain a miracle dice at the end of a phase as a result of vengeance, which is killing stuff, if this Warlord destroyed an enemy unit, then the miracle dice is an automatic 6. I like that, that's cool. Each time this Warlord makes a melee attack, if this Warlord charged or heroically intervened, you can reroll hits. Okay. Yeah, nothing to write home about. I do like the 5-up Feel No Pain, though. Matt says, does that mean you can't take sanctified characters such as Celestine? Oh, you can definitely take sanctified characters. I believe they're cult agents of the Imperium, right? I think it's a Cult Imperialis or Agents of the Imperium keyword, which means that then it would offset anything else, especially Celestine. You can put Celestine in any detachment without it breaking the detachment, because she's like a saint for all Sisters of Battle. Then we have some relics. There are 3 of them. Mina's Wrath, Order of the Bloody Rose. It's a power sword replacement. It is a +2 strength, -3/2 damage power sword. But when you wound on a 6, it does 2 mortal wounds instead of the normal damage. Then we have the Armor of True Sacrifice. It is a 2-up save. And if the bearer loses 1 or more wound during a phase, at the end of that phase you gain a miracle dice. Okay. So you could, like, just a little miracle dice farming. It'd be fun if you could combine that with the Blade of Sacrifice, which you can't, but it'd be cool if you could, because then you'd be like, I'm going to wound myself and get a miracle dice. I'm going to wound myself again, get a miracle dice. And then the Hospitaller would be like, I heal you. And then the last but not least, the Icon of the Crimson Martyr. Add 1 to the bearer's wound characteristic. Excellent. Then the bearer's Litany of Deeds ability has the following additional tail. So whenever you do any of the, like, pick the Litany of Deeds or whatever, like you get to pick one, you just add this extra thing to any of the others. And it's only an Imagifier that can use this. At the end of any phase, other than the morale phase, in which any friendly Order of Bloody Rose core units that were within 6 inches of the bearer were destroyed, you gain a miracle dice. This is in addition to any other miracle dice in that phase. So, aka, like, if you're next to the banner and you die, you are a martyr, so you gain a miracle dice. So it's kind of like Order of Our Martyred Lady, but like next to a banner. Okay, nothing. I don't think it's anything to write home about, to be honest. But yeah, whatever. It's all good. Let's jump into the stratagems. Now, some of these are cool. I really like some cool strats, especially when they decide to bring them and make some neat stuff for Sisters of Battle. They did review a couple of them on the GW site. And we'll kind of just spin through them quickly here. So, Scourge of the Penitent. This is a use a stratagem in your command phase. Select a Order of Bloody Rose Repentia Superior model from your army, and one Repentia Sisters Repentia unit within 6 inches of that model. Until the end of the turn, you add +1 to charge rolls made for that Sisters Repentia unit. If the Repentia unit is 5 or fewer, it's 1 CP, otherwise it's 2 CP. Now, I was hoping that they would give a Repentia Superior a stratagem where you could get out of a transport and then use its ability to advance and charge on a unit or something like that, so that you didn't have to start the Repentia on the table, like, and be vulnerable to getting shot by like out of line of sight guns or bolters or whatever it is, and then they could get out of a transport, you could tell them to advance and charge, and they could go fast. Instead, you get a +1 to charge, which is great. It means you don't need as many miracle dice to make things happen, or as big miracle dice to make things happen. However, it means you still need to be outside in the command phase. So you need like a good wall to hide behind to keep your Repentia, and they're all like, "Are you ready? Are we ready to go yet?" And the Sister Repentia's like, "Okay, go!" And then like whips them, and then tells them +1 to charge, and then they go and like murder something, right? But it's like you have to stand outside of your Rhino the whole time. I'm not a fan of that. Michael Miguel, morning. How's it going? Thanks for coming to hang out. Really appreciate it. Cool. Second one, Wade into the Foe. This is one that was previewed on the Games Workshop site. Use a stratagem in your fight phase. You select a Bloody Rose Paragon Warsuit unit that made a charge move. Every time you fight a unit that has that had 6 or more models at the start of the fight phase, an unmodified hit roll of a 4 scores an additional hit. So it's like exploding 4s in close combat with your Paragon suits if the unit was, you know, it's like Blast in combat, almost. It's kind of cool. Omnissiah Sphinx asks, how many points is a good army in 9th? Well, most people play 2,000 points in 9th edition. I prefer 1,500 points, personally, but 2,000 points is like the standard, just because that's like what match play tends to be played at, and a lot of people play match play, so they play at that point level, basically. So then we go, clear the flanks, 1 CP, use a stratagem at the start of your shooting phase, and select one enemy unit within 6 inches of battlefield edge that is not a player battlefield edge. So it could be any player's battlefield edge. So one of the 2 battlefield edges that are not the player battlefield edges. Until the end of the phase, each time an Order of the Bloody Rose model makes an attack with a heavy weapon that targets that enemy unit, re-roll wound rolls of 1. So it's like a lieutenant wound roll for everything shooting at a unit that is on a flank. Clear the flanks. Well, it makes sense. The coolest thing I like about this is it's not core related. It's any Order Bloody Rose model makes an attack with a heavy weapon, and like an Exorcist is a heavy weapon. So if you have like a knight on a flank, or like something that's like trying to get around you, you can be like, I need to kill that, and then like, you know, all your multi-melters or something get like real ones to hit, real ones to wound against it or something, giving you a bit of a chance to like clear it out before it gets to your lines or whatnot. You know, sure, yeah, it's 1 CP, so it's not like you're investing a lot of points. It's like, I really need to kill that thing. It's close to a board edge. I just get a little bonus, get a lieutenant reroll for all heavy weapons shooting at it. Like, it also works on something like the Razorback one. What are they called? Immolators, but with like heavy bolters. So you've got like heavy bolter, like triple heavy bolter immolator, and then that would get real ones to wound as well, right? Because it's just, as long as it's shooting at the same thing. So getting rerolls on non-core units would actually be the benefit to this, I feel. How many points is a good army to? Okay, how many points to learn 9th? I would start at like 250 to 500 points and just play as many games as possible. Don't overcomplicate it. Just play it simple, learn the game mechanics, and then scale up from there. Clown Mode says, I like situational stratagems like this. Yeah, I agree. They're situational, but it's nice to have in your back pocket, right? Cheap, but useful if you know your book and know when to use it. And I find most situational stratagems are very much like that. You know, how many times you see somebody use the, not the Casket of Souls. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking Tomb Kings, which is an old Age of Sigmar, Age of Fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy army. Not even Age of Sigmar, because they legendsed it. The Crucible of Malediction, which is like a homunculus special rule. It's like a big 12-inch bubble that affects all psychers within 12 inches of the homunculus. And I love using it as Grey Knights, but very few people use it. Until you use it, people go, oh, and they like get scared. 1 CP, Outrage of the Matriarch. Use this stratagem in the fight phase when an order of the Bloody Rose character model from your army is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time that model makes an attack that targets enemy model with a wounds characteristic that exceeds its own, so most things. So you're looking at characters, vehicles, that sort of thing. You get +1 to wound, and an unmodified wound roll of a 6 gains an additional AP 2. So +2 AP and +1 to wound. Cool. Fraser says, yeah, 500-ish is a typical combat patrol box. Great place to start. Agreed. Mikey says, rest in peace, Fantasy Egypt. I know. However, I'm a huge fan of the cool little Night Haunt with the crossbows. Oh, yeah. I get little ghosts with arrow shooting things, or crossbow shooting things. So excited. Carry forth the faithful. Order of the Bloody Rose strategic play strat. It's 1 or 2 CP. Now, this is probably my favorite stratagem in this supplement. In this supplement rule set. Favorite stratagem. So use this stratagem at the start of the first battle round before the first turn begins, so you know who's going first and second. Select a Bloody Rose transport, Rhino Immolator, right? That has any models embarked within it, but not a Dominion squad, because Dominions already make their transports like pre-game move. This model can make a normal move as if it were your movement phase, but must end it more than 9 inches away from enemy models. So your Rhino, normally Dominion squads, they get like a free 6-inch pre-game move with a Rhino. This allows you to pick a Rhino that doesn't have Dominions in it and move it 12 inches up the board. That's really cool, actually. Yeah. I really like that. Now, if you have a Retributor squad or Repentia squad inside of the transport, it's 2 CP, otherwise it's 1 CP. But you could have like a big squad of Novitiates, right? The new Kill Teams box set, or Kill Team unit, like troop unit. 10 of them, just loaded with lots of close combat weapons, in a Rhino, move it up for a CP, and then have Dominion squad with Retributors, Dominion squad with Repentia, or spend the 2 CP and put 10 Repentia in that Rhino, and just boost that Rhino 12 inches up the board, and then literally have that Rhino in the middle of the board. So you don't need to be outside of your Rhino to get that extra movement. You're like right in the middle, and you can go murder something. And so that is a really, really good stratagem. I really, really like that stratagem. Or for 1 CP unit of 10 Sacrosands. Yeah, if they can go in a Rhino, sure. Like Sacrosands is 1 CP. Just grab them, move them up 12 inches, and then you've got your Dominions inside of the other Rhinos or whatever, moving the Retributors or the Repentia in more of a supporting role. And it lets you have 3 or 4 Rhinos max, like come up into the middle of the table and really put some pressure on. Match play-wise, there is that one mission where you can't pre-game move, which does make it a little harder. But it's always good to have that sort of like in your back pocket, right? Okay, Fueled by Rage, 1 or 2 CP. Use this stratagem in your opponent's shooting phase, when a Bloody Rose core unit is selected as the target of a ranged attack. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit is destroyed by an attack, roll a 4+. Do not remove the models from play. After the model's unit has finished making its shots, its attacks, you can shoot with one of the ranged weapons as if it were your shooting phase, and then it's destroyed. If it's a Retributive squad, it costs 2 CP, otherwise it's 1 CP. AKA, on a 4, it's like a banner, like shoot on death, basically, on a 4+. Anything that's not a... Now, it works really well if you have like a... I like this kind of strat when you have like a bigger unit, say 10 sisters, and you have a multi-Meltar in the unit, and you're like moving up, you move up, you shoot the multi-Meltar, your opponent shoots you back, you allocate wounds onto the multi-Meltar with this strat, 1 CP, and then let the multi-Meltar die. On a 4+, it shoots, right? And then you have a Hospitaller nearby, and then you just resurrect the multi-Meltar for the next turn. You know, so there's some cool little combos you can do with that sort of like stratagem. But since it is a 4+, it's not a guaranteed, so it's a bit of a meh. It's not like Noise Marines. As soon as they die, they just shoot you or fight you, right? Novitiates like scouts, says Mikey. So yeah, the Novitiates are essentially like sisters in training, right? They're literally like neophytes. Yeah, like novitiates are like neophytes, and then you've got the sisters, which are like the initiates. Anyway, so, but they are a cheap troop, 10 strong, has lots of attacks in close combat, just with like chainswords. They just go in and just do volume of attacks. They're good for clearing chaff and clearing like small toughness 3 models off of objectives and stuff like that. And they're OBSEC too, which is always really good. Catechism of Wrathful Defiance. That's the next stratagem. 1 or 2 CP again. I love how a lot of these new stratagems are like 1 if you have a small unit, 2 if you have a big unit. Like, I like the option. It's cool because as the game goes on, the squads get smaller. You could use them more often, sort of thing. It's kind of neat. Use a stratagem in your command phase. Select a Bloody Rose infantry unit from your army. Until your next command phase, they gain an aura. While an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this unit, each time a model in that unit makes an attack that targets this unit, subtract 1 to hit. So it's if you're close by, or they move very close to you, they shoot you, that anything that targets them within 6 is -1 to hit. If you're in combat is the biggest thing. Enemies attacking you will be -1 to hit in combat. It's against any infantry, not just core. So you could have your sacrosanct in like putting a shield wall up, and hey, you come to charge me, I'm going to make myself -1 to be hit, right? And it's like an aura. Anybody within 6 that's trying to target me is -1. So it's, you know, if you string out, it could affect more units, whatever it is. It's neat. If a unit has 11 or more models, it's 2 CP, otherwise it's 1. But it's mainly for close combat. Now, it is in your command phase, but it's cool that it's until your next command phase. So you put it on, you move up, you fight, then your opponent's entire turn, -1 to hit, or a bubble as well, and then it's your command phase. Again, you can do it again if you need to. And then last but not least, Savage Twist. 1 command point. Use a stratagem in the fight phase when an order of the Bloody Rose infantry unit from your army is selected to fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack with a melee weapon, excluding a close combat weapon. Boo. So not like if you don't have a close combat weapon, if you don't have like a specific melee weapon, if you just have like your basic no AP user strength, it doesn't count. A non-modified wound roll is 6. Increase the damage characteristic of that attack by 1. So 1 CP for your Repentia to potentially be up to 3 damage with exploding 6s and stuff. You know, get some reroll wound rolls in there. -1 to be hit back. You know, fight on death or whatever from like your Codex. Like there's some, I like it. There's some cool stuff that Sisters of Battle can do. And Bloody Rose just gives you a little bit extra close combat oomph. A couple of cool little strats. It's nothing crazy, but Sisters of Battle are not exactly like a crazy army. They're more of a, you know, very unique little army as well. Ooh, it says clown mode. Did you like the Repentia 3 damage? Yeah, was that something you liked? Nice. So then you got Crusade Rules. You got the banner, and they've got like a little RP to upgrade your banner to a Banner of Renown. That gives you access to like this cool thing where you get points to like upgrade your banners to make your banners even cooler. If your banner goes down, your banner could get damaged, and then the banner actually like loses effects the more it gets damaged, like burnt or holes in it or stuff like that. It's kind of neat. And then you got some Armory of Faith Crusade rules if you want to build an Army of Faith, right? And you've got 2 different stages, Fervor, Retribution, and then you've got a whole battle zone. And the Theater of War with some atmospheric effects for, like, you know, acidic deluge and lightning and dust storms and gales and stuff. I love this stuff. I love playing with all these weird things. Then, of course, the new terrain that they previewed as well. I'm super pumped for this landing pad because it's big, it's, like, tall, it blocks line of sight effectively. It's obscuring, too. It's got, like, scalable, exposed, obscuring. It's also light cover as well, and it's an obstacle. So, oh no, it's area terrain. Never mind. It's area terrain, but it is exposed, so that's kind of weird. Yeah, other than that, this you've seen before, the Hab Bunker, and then we've got the Auspex Shrine and the Vox Antenna. Now, there's cool things you can do for, like, narrative play, like supplies and stuff that you can add for it, but I love it. This new style that they're building of the terrain is pretty epic. 3 damage is nice. Mikey says, Sisters of Battle, clear winner in this book, though. Never got in Phobos Marines, never felt unique enough in the Space Marine roster / model range. 100%. And there you have it. Vigilus alone. And unlike the Tau update, I did this one alone. Get it? Vigilus alone. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this So let me know what your favorite thing was. If you'd like to see more content like this, like, share, click that notification bell to make sure you don't miss it when I put up another video. I put up a battle report usually every single week, as well as the odd other videos. So huge shout out to all the channel Patreons, without whom none of this would be possible. If you'd like to support the channel, all the links are down below. From being a Patreon, if that's not for you, there's dice. There's objective markers and swag. There's also links to all the channel sponsors, so you can go check them out as well and support the channel that way. Other than that, that's it. I'm Skari, your grateful host, signing off until next time, and this has been another fantastic, terrific, awesome, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. So why Chaos on the cover? Because it's Vigilus. It's Vigilus. You know, Abaddon was all angry. However, something I did notice is it's just Vigilus alone. There's no book 1, book 2. This seems like it's a standalone. And what I assume is going to happen is they might release one of these with every GT pack, if that makes sense. And then each GT pack will have its own, you know, set of them or whatever. So, interesting. Yeah. Well then, that's it. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everybody. You are all amazing. I've been Skari, your grateful host. Signing off until next time, Skari out. Ah, the Dark Kid. Bye, everybody.